Okay, so we're here today for first meeting of the session, Learning from History. It's a series of four case histories on some specific projects or companies, plus preview, which has been recorded during the past few days, which is always available on our website. We chose to schedule the session because, of course, it is very good, it's very useful to have information, to have notions, to learn how it works, but it's, in many occasions, even more important to know, to see how this information are actually put into practice. Because information are not always that simple. Most of the times, things work in other ways. Other peculiarities, which is always very useful to take into account. Every company is different, every place is different, every sector is different, so every company or every film has a history of its own, and in many times it's very useful to actually examine this and see how it worked, how it's actually working, what's behind that. So we're starting this meeting this morning. We're starting from Trieste with Andrea. He's the CEO of Pilgrim Film. It's a Trieste-based film company. We chose to start because, of course, we're Trieste Science Plus Fiction Festival. That means that, of course, we focus on science plus fiction, but there's also Trieste. So we thought that the best thing was to start from where it has all begun, from Trieste, from here. So welcome to Andrea, and Pilgrim Films is a company. It's based in Trieste. It's very peculiar, very based here, and it started some 12 or 13 years ago with some documentaries first, and during the last few years, it has gone on to fiction films. So I would just like, at the very beginning, to ask to Andrea to introduce its company and the films, the first films it made, and what's behind, let us say, the philosophy which lies behind Pilgrim Film.
Well, thanks, Luca, and thanks to having me here and to have the opportunity to talk with you and to all the attendees here for the Trieste Film Festival, Trieste Science Plus Fiction Festival, sorry. I'm quite glad to do it here because, as you know, the people may be don't. I mean, La Cappella Underground, who is organizing and leading the Trieste Science Plus Fiction Festival, is one of the partners of our company too. So we actually is one of the founders also within me and other partners. We started, as you said, in 2008. We based the company, set the company here in Trieste. It was a very peculiar way to do some industry, to do some cinematography in Italy. I mean, as you know, I mean, as most of the people know probably, most of the money in the industry is in Rome. Most of the companies, let's say 95%, are based in Rome. But to us, I think was very, very important to stay a little bit far from that environment in order to follow our goals and our mission. And our mission primarily was to do movies that was always had a look, had a glance, had an eye on the international productions. And so for that reason, we thought Trieste was perfect in that way, because Trieste is on the border between Italy and Central Europe. And we start, exploring that option. At the beginning, we started with documentary because it was also the most easiest way to try to find experience in the industry. But always for us, the goal was to make full-length feature films and to produce them. We got some time to get there, but at the end, yeah, we at the moment we just produced and released 2 movies, and we are ready to co-produce and and to release hopefully in the next future COVID wise, if we can release them in the next future. So we are quite happy of our path. So yeah, this is more or less what Pilgrim is now.
So you said that you're very focused on international production because, of course, as you said, this company is based in Trieste, which is a sort of crossway in the middle of Europe, and that you're looking outside the border rather than inside the borders. And I think that that is clear also from the first documentary, that most of them are focused on Trieste, but in the same way in the relationship of Trieste towards outside. In most of your films, are focused on the idea of travel. So that is clear also from the issues, from the subjects that you chose ever since the beginning. So in a way, of course, I would skip the first documentaries because you can already see this peculiarity in your first documentary. But in a way, I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, of course, I think that from the point of view of production, they're more, how can I say, local. Of course, they're looking outside, but most of them originate from Trieste, from the Friuli Venezia Giulia, or even though they have a look from outside the border. And I would then go on to the first fiction film. As you said, you actually started only 3 or 4 years ago with your first feature film, which is easy. But you didn't choose the easiest way. I mean, the most natural way for a company at its first feature film is, of course, to do something independent, something small, something based mostly in Italy with the usual partners like the ministry and I don't know, like Rai, some other Italian co-producer. Whereas you chose to start ever since the beginning with an international co-production and not an usual one like maybe like France or Germany, but you chose to start with Ukraine.
Yeah.
So can you tell us something about that? How did it all start? How did you develop that?
Okay. So, well, a step back to the documentaries because I think is could be it's interesting to understand that yeah we probably started with local topics maybe, but always our documentaries were, for example, we had two kinds of we had two trilogy of documentaries in our production, and one of them was of Triestian people that had experienced their lives in another part of the world, sometimes unknown part of the world. I would like to remember the Faraway's Home, directed by Diego Cenetiempo, who's a story of a Triestian girl who's lived his whole life, almost her life, in the Northern Territories in Australia, among the Aboriginal people, and actually she's married with one of them. And or other documentaries were completely shot in the U.S., for example. On the other hand, the other trilogy was on scientific biopics in a way, thanks to the ICTP, the International Center for Physical Theoretical Physics in Trieste, and also CISA, the School of Physics in Trieste. We got the opportunity to have to explore the science through the lives of these great scientists. As Bruno Pontecorvo actually is the brother of Gillo Pontecorvo, the great director, or Abdus Salam, and or maybe Évariste Galois, was a mathematician from the 18th century and 19th century that completely, how can I say, was developing new theories on what we are now in terms of mathematics and physics. Easy was not the easiest way to start, you're right. But the beginning, as I mentioned, as I already said, I think we always wanted to have something different, another kind of look. yes, it's a road movie. Road movie is quite expensive, not easy for a first feature film. But we got we were lucky because we got we find our co-producer, Ukrainian co-producers, in a workshop that where I was developing the script of Easy, and they fell in love immediately with the story, with the idea, and they wanted to co-produce it. At the beginning, me myself, I was skeptical at the beginning because I thought Ukraine was too far, too far from us, too far from our industry. Maybe ministry wouldn't understand. Maybe a kind of co-production, a kind of road movie journey. But at the end, we got awarded by the Ministry of Culture. I mean, they funded us. So I believe that was the perfect way to start our journey in producing full length feature films. Is a very peculiar way, as you said. It's not France, it's not Germany, but at the same time, it's quite new. Is a very at the same time intriguing way to start a co-production because it's a completely um, diverse world in making cinema. But at the end, we got what we want, and the movie went very well, actually worldwide, even here in Italy. So we thought this was the best, how can I say, business card to present to everybody.
So, I would just like you to ask you some more specific data about that. I mean, as you described it, it looks very simple. I mean, you just went to this workshop and met this guy, and you just started to talk. But how did he actually? I mean, was it really that simple in the end? Just
No, no, it wasn't. I mean, well, I mean, apparently, as I think this co-production was kind of a movie itself. I mean, it was like a three acts movie. I mean, the first act was quite simple. I mean, we got interest from the Ukrainians. We got funding from Ukraine and Italy, and everything was perfect. And I thought myself, well, it's quite easy to make a movie. But actually, something happened, and what happened was we were ready to shoot. For example, you said before 3 4 years in producing Easy. I mean, the release date was 2017. You're right, so 3 years ago. But we started funding the movie in 2012, and we got in 1 year and a half, 2 years, we were ready to shoot because we got all the financing needed. But then something happened in Ukraine, as you know, as like Maidan revolution, and then Donbas and Crimea, and all the money from Ukrainian government, the money for gave it to the National Film Agency was frozen at that time because there were other priorities for the country. And so for 2 years, so we thought to have lost everything. Me, myself, I was living in another part of the world, completely far from Ukraine, thinking that the movie was gone. And after 2 years of that, I received a phone call from my co-producer in Ukraine, saying, "Look, everything is changed here. I mean, now they gave money to the agency, the film agency, and the first movie, the first contract that will be signed will be ours. So come here, but I mean, we need to sign the contract." But the problem, I mean, was October. I remember September, October, and the only problem was that they asked us to shoot in within 6 months, and that means that I would probably shoot during winter time. But my movie was written as a summertime movie, with the main character having swim in the rivers in the lakes of Ukraine, and so I had to change also the script in order to get the opportunity to shoot there. So it means that what you have in mind at the beginning is not always what you have at the end in your hands. I mean, but at the end, I think making a film is also that. It's like to be, how can I say, surprised by your own obstacles that you find, and how you can manage the obstacles, turning them into opportunities.
so in the end, I mean, of course, apart from facts related to history, in the end, it was you didn't it went rather smoothly. I mean, as regards especially financing. Of course, you often hear about films taking years to be financed with capitals, equities, and fundings. Whereas in your case, I understand that it was way easier to get the financing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the financing was quite a process that was quite fast. Uh, but then the problems we had later, and we had also during the production, during the shooting, because it was as a road movie is not always easy to shoot. You change location every day, and you can find a lot of problems during your journey. And we got those problems. I mean, we faced them, and but as I said, I mean, we turned them into opportunities. For example, when I turned the script from summertime movie to wintertime movie, I asked to my DOP and to my producers which kind of colors I will have in the, you know, during wintertime in Ukraine. And they told me, oh, here is always is snow and icy and gray ski. So I had gray, white, no, these kind of colors. And I start thinking on the movie with those palette of colors. But then it happened that we went there to shoot, and actually never snow. I mean, it never snow even one day. I mean, just one day snow when we needed. That was incredible. We needed, yeah. There was a scene where that you couldn't avoid the snow in the script, and that was the day. It was quite actually interesting. But yeah, for example, everything could change when you're going to shoot something like that in a completely uh, different country. I mean, for example, Easy is telling a story of a man who's dragging a coffin from Italy to a little small village in Ukraine, and he has a lot of problems when he gets in Ukraine. He got lost, somebody steal his car, and blah blah blah. So, and it's an adventure, right? So we got the same adventure making it. I mean, shooting it, and this was quite also interesting for us. I mean, it was a very funding experience, and that helped us for also the next movie we produced. Yeah.
Okay. So, uh, what was the out? I mean, of course, you produced the film, you shot the film, then it went out. How was the reception? I mean, what? mm,
Was quite surprising even for us. I mean, we got selected worldwide for the premiere in Locarno, and for a comedy, I mean, it's quite interesting. And then we got our journey in the film festivals around the world. We got participation for over 100 film festivals around the world. In Italy, was released in September 2017. For example, it was out was released for 8 weeks in a row. So it was quite interesting that also. And finally, we got awarded with two nominations on the Davide Donatello award. So this was quite an yeah joyful journey, yeah, for
So
us.
it was quite satisfactory in this then.
Yeah.
So then after that, you go on to your next fiction film, which is, I think, it's the last actually completed feature film, which is Paradise, which is supposed to be out now, but of course, it was supposed to be released this year, but of course, with this COVID emergency, it's having problem. It's Paradise. It's once again a sort of road movie, and it's co-production. This one too, with if I'm not wrong, with Slovenia. And can you tell us something about this? Of course, for many people, co-producing with Slovenia might seem as a sort of actually an actual international co-production, whereas here in Friuli, especially for Trieste-based companies, for Friuli-based companies, something more natural. So, can you tell us something, about your film, about how it was produced?
Well, yeah. So Paradise is directed by Davide Del Degan. Is a first feature film too. I mean, Davide was already he co-directed a documentary that went to Cannes in officers selection out of competition, but this was his first fiction film. The movie had the chance to be released On we released the movie the end of September, and we got quite lucky in this COVID emergency because I mean they closed cinemas in Italy in 25th of October, something like that, 26th. So it means that we got at least our chance to be seen. I mean, is less, you know, it's not a road movie as easy, is more, I mean, has right, it's a co-production with Slovenia, and we have also how can I say, yeah, it's mainly set in a small village in Friuli, the movie, and then we have also some strings that of the storytelling is bringing us to Slovenia also. As you said, yeah, it's an international co-production, but talking about Friuli is quite I mean, we have a lot of strings within. I mean, with the Friuli and Slovenia. For us, is the first co-production, but for many other companies in Friuli Venezia Giulia, I mean, we had already, I think, like more than 10 co-production between Slovenia and Friuli Venezia Giulia. There are also workshops and film funding, regional film fundings between us and Slovenia and other Balkan countries. And was something interesting to actually I found the co-producer of Paradise, the Slovenian one, in the same workshop I was with Easy. So probably it's the workshop that's very interesting for finding co-producers and money. I don't know, but at the end was quite was not easy. The For example, the financing process of this movie, but at the end we achieved what we were looking for. I think, yeah, the COVID emergency a little bit, yeah, it was disappointing us in a way, but because we first had to be released the movie on last April, but then in March there was a lockdown in Italy, and then we decided to release the movie on September. We were lucky, yeah, because if we thought to release it in October, for example, late October, would probably be a nightmare again. So, but at the end, I think it's a movie that now has its journey, needs to have his path. I mean, we got some very interesting and important premiere in Busan Film Festival in Asia and in Turin Film Festival. And then, of course, we had also a very nice experience in the Trieste Film Festival last year. And I think now we could probably thinking on the distribution of the movie in terms of platforms and VOD and something. Yeah.
Okay. So in a way, this is, of course, it's an international co-production, but in the end, it's what looks, I mean, in the Pilgrim film catalog, it's what looks more like, let us say, domestic production. That, and of course, because it's between Friuli and Slovenia, and once again, it doesn't go. I mean, it looks outside the border rather than Rome or other Italian companies. Um, so I think that is very exemplifies very well your idea. I mean, of looking outside, of looking at international co-production. Um, you said that you found the co-producer in this workshop. So, how did you find out the other partnerships? I mean, did you find that locally, or did you have to go around look for them? Andrea? Okay, we had a problem. So let's just wait for Andrea to get back. Okay, we'll be waiting for a couple of minutes for Andrea to get back online.
Again, sorry.
Okay, there
Yeah,
you are.
I lost my connection here, but
Okay, no problem. So, I was saying, how difficult was it in the end? Okay, you said that you found your co-producers in this workshop. I know which workshop is that, just to.
well, it's MFI, a script to film, is an international workshop based in Greece. It takes place in a tiny, small little island in the middle of the Aegean Sea, and but yeah, it's a very interesting,
I'm sure.
yeah, ground floor where to find stories, friends, opportunities.
Okay, so how difficult was it in the end to actually find financing and partnerships for this one? I mean,
Well, actually, the main problem was at the beginning. The movie wasn't thought to be shot in Friuli, for example. The beginning, we were developing also the story together with the IDM, the Film Fund of South Tyrol in Italy, the German-speaking part of Italy, and we didn't succeed after the successful development fund. We didn't succeed to have production money from them, and at the same time, we had to reduce in that way our budget and to rebuild the financial plan. And so thanks to the Friuli Venezia Giulia Film Commission Fund, we had the opportunity to have some production money to shoot there. We already had on board our main film fund, that is the Audiovisual Film Fund of Friuli Venezia Giulia, that is mainly for production company based in the region. At the same time, this was the financing process wasn't quite easy. On production, then we got some problems with weather. I mean, because the movie was written and Davide wanted to shoot with the snow. I mean, he needed that, and of course, again, we start preparing the movie, but there were no snow in South at that time, so we had to stop the pre-production. That's quite very not common strategy, and start again after 1 year more or less the preparation for the movie, when we understood that that was the right winter with a lot of snow there. So we got our snow at the end. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't have enough money to have it for fake, artificial snow. So yeah, we needed to wait the real one.
Okay. So these are your feature films completed so far, but I think that you have even more projects. I counted some 2 or 3 of them, and all of these are international co-production as well. So I think that there is your new. Can you tell us something about them? I mean, about your new one, for instance.
Yeah, my next movie is completely different from a road movie genre. It's a movie based almost completely in a jail, but it's not seeing that jail in a drama way. It's more that thin line between I would not say comedy, but there are very funny moments in the movie within that line between comedy and more poetic or dramatic uh, narration points of the story. We co-produce it with Ukraine. It's not a matter of storytelling. I mean, the co-production is not based on storytelling. I mean, in a road movie, you have the storytelling that lead the two co-productions, the two productions. I mean, but here it's just a way to repeat the successful experience of Easy with the same partners. I mean, I have the same co-producers. We have the same DOP, for example, that is the Ukrainian one. And I will probably, is a coming of age. So it's a story of a guy who burned in jail and who is raised there until he turned 3 years old. And by law, then he has to leave that place. But in a way, this naive and innocent kid is always um, attached to the place that where he were born, and he feels that place as home. So in a way, it's a coming of age of this little kid, Giacinto, and his run towards freedom, metaphorical freedom. It's gonna to be shoot in, I think, next April or May. Um, of course, it depends on COVID again. And then we have other projects. Yeah, you're right. One with is an animation project. Is a stop motion, entirely stop motion project, directed by Stefano Bessoni, who is his second feature film. It's going to be co-produced with France. And hopefully we think to, I mean, stop motion is quite a long process of production. It takes almost 1 to 2 years in order to finalize it. And we hopefully gonna be entering into production, I think, by the end of 2021 or beginning 2022. This is our goal. I mean, and then we have other minority co-production we are trying to build up, and one of them, the most close one, is with Sri Lanka. It's quite. I mean, I think no, I believe it's the first. It will be the first co-production between Italy and Sri Lanka. I met the director in another workshop. Again, was an IPCO program in Berlin, and as a very successful director from Sri Lanka. I was also participating to Biennale College in Venice, in Open Doors in Locarno. It will be his third feature film. Is an author movie, and we're trying to help him to have the chance and the opportunity to get the best from the script.
Okay, so it looks like that you're enlarging the scope more and more of both of as regards both co-production, but you're also changing completely the issues and subjects of your. I mean,
Oh, that,
the nature of your films. I mean, the ones you produce, of course.
definitely. I mean, we have no borders. I mean, we're trying to expand as much as our curiosity will
Mhm.
lead us, and at the same time, we are not strictly on an editorial line that we say we're just producing comedies or road movies, or we just want to tell interesting stories from intriguing authors. That's the way we're looking for our editorial line, and of course maybe our common key on any production is that we would like to have it in a sort of a worldwide look. I mean, so
Mhm.
producing with Asian companies, Latin American, probably we'll have a Latin American project soon. Why not? Yeah, I think we did. I mean, our curiosity leads there, and I think this is our key.
Okay. And looks like that it works. I mean, you already produced two films and you have three more on the move. So I mean, I don't know how about money, about how profitable, but I mean, it's work. You're working, so it looks like it's.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I mean the profit is not the in the most profitable way to make movies. Probably it will be to make some Italian with no co-production, maybe comedy, popular comedy, that would be interesting for money. In that case, it's not so profitable, but at the same time, it's the most um, for us is life also. It's our blood for life. Making, I mean, this is the way we are looking to the world, and it's the way that we want to tell our stories to the world. Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, just one last question. I mean, of course, we're talking about co-production. We're talking about looking outside the border. What would you suggest for an independent author or young producer, young filmmaker who wishes to do as you did? I mean, like not looking inside the border, but looking outside. So, what would you suggest him to do first?
Well, open their minds, of course, first to any kind of different culture we have in the world, because this could lead you to have the opportunity to share ideas and stories to people that you maybe didn't even think about it. One practical thing is to participate to the important European workshops we have about developing, about co-production market, about forum of sharing so projects and ideas. That is very, very important, because you need people to co-produce. It's not just a matter of mathematics, it's a matter of people. Co-production is like a marriage. So if you find the right one, it's successful. If not, it will be a nightmare. So you have to be, I don't like to use that word, but you have to be friend in a way to your co-producer. You have to trust him, and he has to trust you. So participate to this workshop is helping you to know people, to know it better, to know them better, and then to find maybe the right co-producers. And basically to believe that you are in the right way of the process. I mean, never think that maybe is losing your time, is losing your money. Maybe it is, but this is the only way to co-produce with foreign countries. I mean, to stay there and to continue to believe it. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm quite ahead of schedule, so I think that I will unfortunately have to stop this thing. So that's it. Thank you very much, Andrea.
Thank you to you and to all of you.
I'm sorry for the audience, but we won't be able, unfortunately, to do any Q&A for this one, because we're starting with the next one in 5 minutes, I think. So
Okay.
anyway, thank you very much, Andrea. I wish you all the best. Wish very good luck with your next project. Hopefully after this COVID, and that's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much to
Okay.
you. And again,
Okay.
Viva Yes, a Science Plus Fiction Festival.
Okay. Thanks. Okay.
Bye. Ciao. Ciao. Ciao.
Bye. Ciao, John.